Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Modesto, tacos, tequila, and whiskey here, corner Burbank and Nicholson. Welcome to the Wednesday edition, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Randy McKay with us today. Wes Reynolds with us today. Scott Rabelais with us today. Golf picks today headed to the Arnold Palmer. LSU baseball tonight in Lafayette, the Tigers' first true road game of the season. So we got a lot to get to in a big, big night in college basketball last night. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So a lot of games last night. We talked about that yesterday. It was one of the bigger one of the big cards.
Great college basketball schedule.
SEC moved everything but one game into the Tuesday slot.
Triple header on the SEC network. 7.5 hours, Charlie. I watched them all.
You watched it?
UNLV and Utah State to UCLA and Nebraska. Yes, indeed.
I did not make the end of
okay.
UCLA, Nebraska. I felt I went to sleep with feeling very good about where UCLA was.
Yeah, it was well in hand.
So I kind of drifted off at that point. So
good night for Otterlock, 6-2. Good night for Ace Seminaric, closing lines, 3-0. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the SEC, a lot of this went pretty close to the Florida train keeps rolling.
Okay, but Mississippi State. I mean, that's
right.
22.5.
Well,
they sat Houck, by the way. He didn't dress out. They're taking, why? Why in this game?
Sure.
They gave him the trophy after, his senior night, so it was.
And we didn't expect Mississippi State to put up any fight. They
went up 10.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And immediately thought, wow, I'm catching 23. Should have. Yeah. Only one team has been within 10 points of Florida since that inexplicable loss at home.
So the alt line is when you can lay more. So, like, if the team is favored by 8, you lay like 15. And they're crushing these and get like a really nice payout, like plus $3.80, plus $4, stuff like that. They're crushing those alt lines. I mean, down 10, and they won. They covered the spread by like 12 points or something.
Yeah.
The
average margin of victory in their since the loss, that loss to Auburn at home, which is we talked about that yesterday, one of the bigger surprises of the season. They've crushed everybody. Now, they've crushed the really bad teams. They beat South Carolina by almost 40. They beat Mississippi State by 34. But they beat Alabama by 23. They beat Texas by 13 by Texas. They beat Arkansas by 34.
But on the road, they were winning by 20 most of that game.
Yeah.
At Texas.
So good teams.
Beat Arkansas by about 30.
34. Mm-hmm. They beat them. They beat Georgia at Georgia by 20. Georgia's not bad. They beat them by 20.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have to see last night's result. I think there were a lot more revealing results last night besides the Florida game.
No,
kind of cool to see the young and cocky Golden photo opping with the former young and cocky Steve Spurrier. So that was.
I noticed they didn't make him pose with the live alligator the way they did John Summerall. Did you see that?
No idea.
The alligator was snapping.
I'm gonna tell you this. So talking about people in New Orleans, where the kids went to school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very, very nice family to deal with. Summerall.
No, he's solid.
I'm giving you some inside information.
Yeah.
Everybody's solid in front of the microphone, but
right.
there could be a-holes behind it. So no,
that's good.
No.
Georgia with a really good win against Alabama. You know what I heard mostly from the desks after was, this guarantees Georgia a spot in the NCAA tournament.
I would agree.
And I would have thought they were in anyway.
Yeah.
But if they'd have lost.
Well, this eliminates any gray area.
That's correct.
Yeah, no. I mean, I agree. It's a soft bubble, man. And, some of the damaging losses you just don't know. I thought that A&M kind of needed a win, Charlie. They were more in a bubble than, But,
and they were down 10 early, right? Or 12, I think.
They were down about 8 to 10, but they just rolled them, man. I mean, they were up 20 for much much deeper part of the game.
Yeah, they were down 12 at the largest deficit, and then they just steamrolled.
Mid first half. It was pretty early.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, at half they were down. I mean, A&M's up double digits at half, huh?
A&M was up 12 at the half.
Yeah.
They went from 12 up to 12 down in the first half.
So anyway, we hit A&M last night. We hit the over in Georgia and Alabama. It went over late, but it went over about 6-7 points, and that's why I just think that's the biggest Achilles heel for Alabama. They don't play a lick of defense, not a lick, and I mean that's just okay, great, but you can't shoot lights out every night. So I mean they're a Sweet 16 at best team. Sorry, I mean people trying to make a case, for them being the next best team. I think Arkansas is more capable, is what I'm saying, and I think Tennessee now. Ament was hurt last game. He did not dress last night, and they took care of business on the road against South Carolina. And you kind of like Hollywood, but they gave up too many points. I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's one candidate to get to the Final Four, maybe even Elite Eight in the SEC. Anybody else is going to need some breaks.
And nobody else is expected at this point. Right now, Alabama, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, they're all on that cusp of a protected seed. They're all on that 4-5 line. And
Who's that?
Vanderbilt, Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
Well, Vandy escaped. They should have lost last night. Should have lost. I know you had. I got the plus. I mean, Max has got me fixed up.
Oh, no, I got it. I just was watching something else.
Sorry, Charlie. I'm proud of myself for actually being able to hook up the plus. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So on the main TVs in my media room. So I mean, So I watched a lot of it. There was such an avalanche of money on handle on Vanderbilt that I said, man, I got to take a shot with 7.5 at home. I mean, I didn't really like the game, but I took it. But really poor job of officiating. Not based on somebody got screwed or something. It wasn't so much. It was just they were allowing reviews from previous possessions. Not like, okay, here's the call, let's review it. Before. I didn't even know you could do that. I mean, they call back 2 and 3 possessions, man.
They were backing up the broadcast so much that Alabama and Georgia ended up on ESPN News for a minute.
You know who was doing a game on Plus last night? It was Kermit.
Okay.
And Kermit is the most patient guy in the world. And he's like, man, what is going on?
Right.
It was really poorly done.
It was a backlog there for a while. Most damaging loss in the league last night got to be Missouri. And they're the ultimate, I think, bubble team, Jimmy, because they've got a winning record in the league. They're 10-7 in the league. There's some decent wins on that schedule, but they dropped a game to Oklahoma last night. They fall 6 in the net. I mean, for this time of year, 59, and that is way that's way outside of bubble. Ordinary for the net.
Right. No. Well, they use the net. They lean on it heavily. I mean,
but they've got that win again. They've got wins against Florida, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, and Georgia. Now they're all at home, plus that win at Rupp, which is helping. So there's some, and they also won at A&M. So there's some quality wins on that schedule, but man, a 58 net, that's a haul, man, for an at-large.
2019, I mean, you got to go back that far. St. John's got in with a 73. 2021, Wichita State got in with a 72. I mean, it's you're really pushing it. You're really pushing it. And look, they've been out of contention. Oklahoma's now won 3 straight games, all by double digits. I liked them in that spot, the revenge spot. That was as bad as their losses in Porter Moser might not survive, but they could if they win half of these brutal losses, they're probably in. I mean, they're better than what their overall resume is, but that's probably the most tough luck team in all of college basketball. But they're playing. That's 3 straight wins by double digits. They're killing some other teams. Auburn, they damaged them by beating them by double digits. Missouri last night, they damaged them as well.
Yeah. And then LSU, the late game, 9 o'clock at Auburn. Tigers lose by 14. The turnovers, LSU didn't shoot the ball poorly last night. They played better on the road than they have at home. Auburn, I didn't think they did anything spectacular. They shot the ball well, but everybody shoots the ball well against LSU because they don't have a whole lot of post defense. They don't close out well on the perimeter. But it wasn't one of those. It was one of those games where the home team marches to the free throw line. That was about even. The battle on the boards was about even. But LSU turned the ball over 16 times, and Jalen Reese, who has played better in the second half of the season. The last two games, the turnovers have gotten to him, and that was one of the things last night. But Auburn led most of the way. LSU had some leads in the first half. The Auburn Tigers, stretched that lead to as many as 19 and coasted home by 14. A win that they needed. That would have been a very damaging loss for Auburn.
It's a lose only situation.
Yes, it would have been a damaging loss. The win doesn't do them much good, but the loss would have been crushing because it would have put them at 15-15, and you lose to a team that's at the bottom.
RPI is fine, 39. I'm sorry, NET is fine at 39, but man, most people have them on the wrong side of the bubble right now. They got to go to Tuscaloosa on Saturday, and I don't. That's going to be hard for them.
How much of the non-bubble is recency bias? Because they had lost 7 out of 8 going into last night's game. They don't look like a tournament team to me.
No.
I get that the NET matches, but the NET matches largely because of that strength of schedule, which has dropped to. It's still top 5, but it's dropped to 4. But you look at who they've played. I mean, kudos. You played Michigan, you played Arizona, you played Houston, you played Purdue, you played St. John's. In addition to your conference schedule,
number 1 strength of schedule. Huh?
Yeah, but you didn't beat. Well, you did beat St. John's, but the rest of those teams you didn't beat. I don't know. Well. Ask it this way. Who's better, Missouri or Auburn on a neutral floor?
I think right now, Missouri. I think earlier I would have taken Auburn, if that makes sense. I mean, teams' level of play will vary over the course of the season. I mean, and, it's right now, like, for instance, Oklahoma's better right now. They're a pretty good team. Texas A&M, were they better in the first half of the season or second half? Of course, the first half. So, I mean, but was very close, very close.
Yeah,
I would say on a neutral, they'd be pick 'em.
And there's 20 NET spots between them. There's not that kind of gap between them.
And because of the strength of schedule, and that's it. Yeah. What is Missouri's strength of schedule?
Missouri's strength of schedule is 89.
Yeah, for an SEC program, that is really low.
Yeah,
is that the lowest in the SEC?
Probably Texas A&M because their non-conference schedule was so bad. Or LSU
Buckyball came in late.
LSU was pretty close.
He had to worry about getting a roster very late with much less schedule.
A&M is right behind them at 93, and LSU is probably pretty close in there. They're 85. They're all about.
All in those three are the weakest.
Yeah, and it's the non-conference schedules for all three was
like a team
terrible.
like Arizona State, Charlie, playing way better right now.
They are
way better. Nobody, they're probably not in it. They're 66 NET, 16-14 overall. I mean, they're not good against a quad one. I think it's 2-8, but they are playing better. Right,
they played really well last night, and what could have been Bobby Hurley's last game. They were talking about that extensively last night. Yes,
they're going to play Saturday in the tournament.
Yes, last home game. He's been there 11 seasons.
Oh, I know.
11 seasons.
Oh, no, he's been there a while. He's had his chances.
Yeah.
He's had his chances. So one brother was way better playing. One brother is way better coaching. And that's kind of the way it works. The great players don't usually pan out to be the best coaches.
They each got 2 rings. One of them is a player, one of them is a coach.
Is that right?
Yeah. Hurley got 2 rings playing. Bobby did.
They beat Kansas and Duke. I mean, Michigan. Okay, in the finals. Okay.
And Dan's got his 2 as a
4
coach.
straight Final Fours?
Yeah.
He and Leitner were the same class?
No, he didn't go.
Leitner was a
Duke went to 4 straight Final Fours. Leitner's a year ahead of him.
Okay, so, Leitner went to 4 Final Fours.
Yeah.
Hurley went to 3, and then they got knocked out his senior year?
By Cal.
Jason Kidd. Second round?
Yes. Michigan wanted another piece of him, ended up playing North Carolina in the finals.
Because Cal beat LSU in the first round.
First round.
Gert Hammock?
That was the Gert Hammock team.
Charlie.
Gert was. I think Gert was player of the
Could
year.
you,
in the
if you
SEC.
had a baseball ticket, could you get into the LSU basketball games back then?
No. No.
Does that happen on Saturday?
I haven't. You telling me that was the first I'd heard of that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
We still evaluate whether they try hard.
Nope.
They're tied for last, right?
They are tied for last with South Carolina.
Again.
Yes.
Were they last or South Carolina was last?
They were 15th last
my
year.
bad.
15th last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're live here at Modesto, Charlie. Lenten specials. Trey and I came over here before the gymnastics meet on places packed for it's a very popular spot before they go to the LSU games, and LSU was playing at 6:30, and about 6 or 6:15, it kind of everybody went on their way. But we did get the Lenten specials, and I tried two of the items. I had the blackened mai taco with refried beans, cabbage, avocado creme, mango pico with cilantro and cotija cheese. And I had the soft shell crab taco. Boy, that was my favorite.
That sounds really
That
good.
was my favorite. The green mango slices, tahini, guacamole sauce, and the mango pico. They also do a crispy crawfish taco for Lent, Louisiana crawfish, cilantro, lime, cabbage slaw with the creme de arbol, and the flounder ceviche. I'm going to try that today. Local flounder, lime, orange, jalapeno, red onion, pico de gallo, avocado, and totopos. So, and the torta, which is a sandwich, with our own Talia bread over here at Modesto, and it's a Mexican po' boy is what we refer to it as. I think that's good. House-made Talera bread, spiced mayo, grilled onions, tomato, oxygen cheese, guacamole, pickled jalapeno, and cabbage slaw. So, man, soft shell crab torta.
I'm a sucker for soft shell crab.
Me too, man. Man.
When it's done right,
But it was a little buster crab and a
Yeah.
whole one, too. For a little taco, $7, man. Can't beat it.
Well, that's lunch as soon as we're done with this show. Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show is always available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, and new Handycast Up baseball podcast on YouTube. It's all brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating their 90th year in business here in 2026 down in Southwest Louisiana, supporting our Louisiana farmers. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com. Can I back up on that Arizona State-Kansas game for a second as we wrap up college basketball from
man,
last
Self
night?
got tossed,
Self
and then
got
Jacques Vaughn got a technical, too.
Peterson played the whole game, okay? And
He's been playing a lot.
And since that I would say since the Arizona game that he sat out, the message got across, whether it from the agent,
didn't I
the
tell
coach,
you how
whatever.
he handled a bad call and how he's handling his interaction with Self? But I think I caught the tail end. I had it on, but I didn't see exactly.
It was an offensive foul.
Yeah, I didn't see.
I didn't think it was the worst call I'd ever seen in my life. I didn't think Self would get ejected.
We got tossed it was in the first half, and Jacques Vaughn got his technical in the first half.
Right.
So
I can't tell you that it was the worst call I've ever seen.
they got it down to like 2 or 3. They were down like 22.
Yeah, they were down 20 at the half. They got it to 3 and had multiple shots. When they got it to 3, it was 57-54. They had probably 4 possessions and couldn't get a bucket to go.
Yeah, looked like they were, on their way, but Arizona State hit some key shots to kind of hold them off. And all you need to do when you get that big lead is at some point, make a couple of shots, which they did.
Right. Virginia wasn't a cakewalk against Wake Forest, but they win again. They've beaten.
These senior nights, Charlie, are a little bit for the big favorite at home. A little bit distracting. It was a Gordy Rush night.
Gordy
last
Rush
night.
special.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it was. I know we want to score first. I understand, but I mean, the senior, a lot of it, man. Even Florida, who rolled, but the Florida should never be down 10 to Mississippi State at home. Never.
Right.
There was a bunch of those games last night. The home team senior night, they were a little sluggish.
For those that don't know what we're talking about with Gordy's big deal used to be when we do pregame together that he hated senior days because it throws off. He had a reason for it.
Yes.
It throws off your pregame routine. You're worried about where your parents are. You're worried about where your girlfriend is. The ceremony itself completely disrupts your pregame routine.
Because your parents are involved in this, and they
That's
are
right,
in your family, and people want to. I mean,
Grandma's coming down to take the picture, and it just throws everything off. Maybe senior days maybe look at this on Saturday. Maybe some first half lines.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it played out last night.
It doesn't always.
You know
it
how that
doesn't
goes.
always work.
If we don't show up for the wedding, don't show up for the divorce. So,
Yeah,
but there was a few of them last night. So I'm trying to think. Texas Tech, they finally caught up with them. Is the run over now without Toppin? It took them 4 games to show them. They won their first 3 and really quality wins, but TCU goes into Lubbock, a tough place, and wins by 8. Virginia was kind of a distraction. St. John's was distracted. Man, they had to fight back to win
against
3 against Georgetown. Miami 30 and 30.
I was gonna say because that was their senior night, and they never trailed, but they never shook them either. Toledo was right there the whole way, but they did not. It was a 2-point game. But they never had the ball. Toledo never had the ball.
They did. They're down 2 there at the last possession.
With 1 second.
No. It came down to 1. No, with 15 seconds, Charlie.
When they knocked the ball out of bounds.
They had a full possession. That was during their possession.
Okay.
Yes.
Then,
no.
But they didn't get a shot off.
No, they did not get a shot off.
Didn't get a shot off. Okay,
no,
that's what I'm thinking.
But they had a full possession.
Yeah.
I mean, they could go for the win. I mean, it's the most one possession wins for an undefeated team ever.
How many?
They're not that great.
No,
they're not that great, but
not.
they keep winning. They're in. Okay, I mean, it's in all the conversation, just a little build-up, which is fine. I got to tell you one thing they do. They can score it, bro. They can score, but they give up a lot of easy baskets. It was a 7.5-point spread. You wondered, like, man, we talked about what's name was 10-6 in MAC play. So they were, and it was just a hard game for them, a very hard game.
You get the feeling that they are starting to feel a little bit of the light now. That more people are like, wait a minute, now we're in the March.
About a month now.
Well, I was thinking more in the last week.
No, a month. They've when you get 20-0, that's 10 games ago. That's 10 games ago. They're 20-0.
But up until the last week, they were still winning games by double digits.
Oh, well, they had a few. They did. And before that, they went in. They're pulling games out their hat. They had to hit a couple of games where they had to hit prayer threes just to send it into overtime. So they went overtime, and went by 2, like 3 games in a row. And that was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So they're just not – I mean, when they play the stronger teams, they struggle. When they play the weaker teams in the MAC, they're rolling. So,
and then they go in last week against Western Michigan. The coach throws a fit. The berating all the officials, damaging the thing, damaging the equipment.
Chuck got his. He's got his.
He's gonna get his money back.
He's got his equipment. He's gonna be
get
fine.
His equipment. The pressure now of it. You know what I think is going to happen with Miami of Ohio? And I did watch a little bit of this.
Probably they're going
to get in. They're going to get beat in the first round, probably.
Well, they're going.
And I want them to
get a 10 or 11 seed, and they're going to be underdog.
Yeah, and they're going to get beat.
And like about a 6-7 point underdog as well.
And I know, knowing that a full 2 weeks in advance of the NCAA's tournament, I still want them to get in. I think if you win, I don't care what league you play in, if you win them all,
they're going to get in.
You should get in.
They're going to get in.
Okay. Well, don't lose on Saturday to Ohio and then lose next week.
Well, you see the line on that game?
I did not.
They're at home. What do you get for home court?
4.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair from MAC.
Okay.
It's 5.5.
Okay.
So they're undefeated. You can bump it up. So basically, they're telling you pretty much it's a pick'em game on neutral, and they've had a lot of those. But it was cool. They did the trophy. They had the MAC championship. The coach. No, that's a hell of an accomplishment. So you said some of the. You forgot. You were going through some of the undefeated regular seasons. The Kentucky when they lost to Frank the Tank. Wisconsin when Duke beat Wisconsin in the finals. We talked about, of course, 76 Indiana. But what other one did you bring up?
Indiana's the last team to finish. That was 76 to finish the season undefeated. There were 5 of them. I think it was 5 or 6. It was Kentucky. It was Wichita State in 2013. It was St. Joe's in 2004. The Kentucky team that you talked about. UNLV when they lost in the finals. and Gonzaga when they lost in the finals to Baylor. They were 39.
Remember one in 1979?
Undefeated in the regular season? Whew, I do not.
It was the game that lifted the sport of college basketball.
Indiana State was undefeated.
33-1 they finished that year.
Okay, yeah. I didn't have
Had
that
a guy
one.
named Larry Bird. You ever heard him?
What happened to him? Did he go pro?
He was a coach for the Pacers for a little bit.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
a bad back.
It did some commentary work. Yeah, no, you're right. I had omitted that one. Yeah, it's like 6 teams that have gone undefeated in the regular season since Indiana ran the table.
Sycamores, baby. So that's where Larry Nerd came from, right? Now he's at St. Louis. Didn't they start in Indiana State?
Yeah, he didn't start Indiana State, but he was there for 3 years.
Him and a coach, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there for.
So
there for
they
3
were
years.
at Indiana State last year.
2 years ago.
Okay.
This
is
his
second year at St. Louis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before that, he was at that college that he was at forever as a was Division II. They crushed it. And he went to Indiana State for 3 years. Been in St. Louis for
What do you
2.
mean Division II? What are you talking about?
Lincoln, Lincoln College. No, the shirts. The coach.
The coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
Remember where they played that game?
What?
Indiana State and Michigan State. Where was the championship game that year?
You got me on that one. I remember watching.
We went there together.
I remember.
We went to that building together.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah,
Is that right?
the Huntsman Center.
Okay.
That's where.
You know, in Salt Lake City, Dayton, and Omaha. Well, they just support him so much. You know, when the Superdome, they got 1,000 people in the games when they had the first round.
You imagine playing the NCAA finals in Salt Lake City in an on-campus arena these days? Been a minute, huh?
Yeah, the stadiums, and that's unfortunate because there's so many bad seats.
Yeah.
You know, there's some really bad seats in these stadiums, but it's their biggest moneymaker.
Remember the last one to be played in a basketball arena?
Rupp?
No, it was actually after that. Rupp was one, but
Georgetown and Nova was Rupp.
yeah, McNichols Arena, 87, Danny and the Miracles
Oh, in Denver
in Denver. Yeah,
against Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
85, 6?
88, I think.
88? Oh,
yeah,
geez.
87,
Yeah, you're right.
88 season.
Late college. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith, our great team at Legacy Title. Long-standing staff, which is executes your deals seamlessly. It's easy to deal with. They are a veteran crew dealing with it. Hey, you buying, building, or refinancing, nobody chooses your title company but you. Call my friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Uh-oh, they let the big dog out.
Boom! Out of nowhere.
It's time for the big dog, Randy McKay, with his best picks.
Let me correct myself. The memory fades a little bit after this much time. 88, Danny and the Miracles. That game was in Kemper Arena in Kansas City. 2 years later, the last Final Four to be played in a basketball-only arena, McNichols. We had that right with the arena, the wrong with the year. It was 1990. It was UNLV and Duke when Jerry Tarkanian got his national championship against the Dukies by 30. In between there, they played a final in the Kingdom. That was when Ramil Robinson made the 2 free throws against Seton Hall. Yeah,
horrible call.
Steve Fisher, interim coach, went all the way to the national championship.
Seton Hall was great. PJ had a team. Let's bring in big dog Randy McKay. Randy, how you doing today, buddy?
Just to expand on that, I think there was a Final Four in New York in the mid '90s that might have been in the big arena there.
Oh, you know what? East Rutherford had, you know, what do we?
No, but that's a basketball arena.
Yeah, that is a basketball arena.
That's a basketball arena.
Yeah.
We're talking about like the Alamo Dome, the Superdome, the at the Georgia Dome. These stadiums turned into, and where man you got a few good seats, and then it's just but that's. I forget. It was about 30 years ago. That's it. I mean, they could sell every ticket. So why are they gonna change it? So Superdome's first one was 82, And when they sold everything out, so it's going to be you've been down. I was with you in the Superdome, so you making your trip with your boys again. Wait, I don't even know where the Final Four is this year. Where is it?
Final Four this year is in Indiana.
Indianapolis, another one, Hoosier Dome. So we went to the worst Final Four ever. Every game was a blowout. Florida blew out George Mason. UCLA blew out LSU. Florida blew out UCLA. It was nothing but blowouts.
And next year it's in Las Vegas.
Is that right?
That's
T-Mobile?
correct.
T-Mobile, I guess?
No, Allegiant.
There you go. Yeah.
This year it's in Indy. Next year it's in Ford Field, and then it's in Vegas. In
Okay.
2028.
Oh, okay. In Ford Field, then okay.
Yeah.
And
Ford
then
Field.
the Frozen Four is in Vegas this year at the T-Mobile.
Well, Vegas,
The
I
hockey.
mean, they're done with not getting sporting events because of that. And look, this week starting, I mean, what is it, 5, 6 basketball conference tournaments in Las Vegas? So, I mean, you got Green Valley Ranch, you got them at T-Mobile, you got them at
The Orleans.
West Coast Conference, with Gonzaga.
Thomas and Mack.
Thomas and Mack. Yes, at least, I think it's 5 that they have in there. So, anyway. So, Randy, what I wanted to run by you today was with the Combine complete, some of the mobile sites are now putting out some draft odds. We're about 6 or 7 weeks away from the draft, but we look at that a lot. And when do you start to try and kind of look at this? I know because it's something that we've had some luck. We know that Las Vegas has strict limitations and a very limited menu because they usually they do not like booking the draft. But what is your timeline now that some of these odds are starting to trickle out?
Yeah, you just kind of, we kind of hear what's going on at the Combine. Of course, I didn't really watch too much of it. I saw some, in a distance, but when I was in the sports book. But, you keep hearing things like maybe Reuben Bain's going to drop down because his arms are too short and stuff like that are little tidbits that might give you a decent bet. It depends on what kind of over-under he comes out at is one of them. So, of course, you got to look at that. And, player positioning and that kind of thing has always been always been one of the strong ones. So you just got to see who's there, who's in the top 10, see who they're, who the guys Kuiper and the crew and Jeremiah are saying who's going to go and who isn't. So you can just refresh your memory on some of these players.
Yeah. So it's we have seen you. Do you think Will Campbell struggles in the postseason and in the Super Bowl because they were so high profile? And he's a guy that came in that was one concern was his arm length. You think does that have a carryover effect with Bain?
It sure sounds like it's going to, and seems like they're really looking into this arm thing for either the pass rusher or the offensive lineman.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, you're really hearing about that. So that's something you didn't hear about before. They're always worried about these other metrics, but now they're talking about that a lot.
Yeah. So all right. So what is on your plate right now with a lot of the football or anything else that we're looking at? You getting more into hockey right now?
Yeah, with the football, pretty much. A lot of news here, a lot of transitioning here. Drew Dahlman retiring. That's a big hit for the Bears. They're losing their 27-year-old offensive center.
What happened there?
Yeah, you never know with these young kids nowadays. They take some hits, and and we've seen it. With some of these, they just don't want to go through the pain anymore, and they've made a few bucks and get the heck out of there. So he must be one of them. So that's a big hit. Then a big trade today too with McDuffie going to the Rams from the Chiefs. Kind of maybe a reset there for the Chiefs, but again, they got a lot for him. So you got to kind of wonder what Spags. I'm sure he had a word in that if signing off on that, but the Chiefs got a pretty good haul for him in that trade.
Interesting. One of the guys that was mocked a lot for the Saints at number 9, Charlie, is that right?
8.
8 is Notre Dame running back Love, and Jeremiah Love. And, well, he performed so well, his measurables, that they don't think he's going to last till number 8. We've had some lively discussions on, do you take a running back who can help your young quarterback and give them a running game and maybe improve your offensive line through the draft? But I'm sort of my philosophy is that is the absolute last piece of the puzzle, and I think you got a lot of other pieces left. I just Saquon Barkley, did he have a supporting cast at the Giants? No. Was he the last piece of the puzzle for the Eagles? Yes. I mean, I think the kid from Boise State is Ashton Genty. I think he's a nice running back, but not behind that line. And sort of you waste him, but maybe the tease. You're trying to help your young quarterback, and he is that quarterback of the future. How good he's going to be, exactly how good, we don't know, but he's their franchise quarterback. The Saints got their guy in Shuck. Just your thoughts philosophically, if you're drafting, or if you're tempted by taking a running back that high.
Yeah, I would never pay extra for a running back in this day's NFL. I mean, even if the best running back in the world, Barry Sanders, was coming, back out, that'd be maybe. But to pay extra for a running back now, when there's so many good ones that you can get, even free agent and this kind of thing, because that's not a big looked at position anymore. Because a lot of times these backfields have 2 guys, that they use, and they split carries anyway. So I've seen that, and I've seen them look at the USC wide receiver and a couple other spots there for your guys' Saints.
What do you think about Shuck? We talked a lot about him, but what's your evaluation of him this year?
Yeah, good, impressive first year for him. They probably should have pulled the trigger maybe a little earlier on Rattler, but you never know what was going on in the locker room there. Kellen Moore has a good feel on that. Good first year for him as a coach as well. So that's a good sign for the Saints. You get, you're a little worried about them first year coaches, what you're going to get, and there was a pretty impressive first year for most of the coaches out there. Of course, we knew Aaron Glenn wasn't going to be that much of a coach, but the rest of them all were pretty strong.
Black and gold Super Bowl. I mean, don't get in our way, Randy. I mean, we are scheduling the parade, the victory parade now. See, we want to make sure you get a reservation, a flight to come down for the victory celebration. But I mean, anyway, we talked a lot. Did Bryce Young solidify himself at Carolina, or would we have? If it was a normal division and they had a losing record and they don't make it to the playoffs, what's your thoughts on him?
Bryce Young just keeps getting a little better and better each year, I think. And, he was kind of, looked at as a bust kind of. Now he just, with Canales, pretty good coach as well. Offensive coach, he's starting to look a little better each year, and they make it step into the playoffs. And, if they get a little bit more help on defense, a little bit, the receivers are starting to get a little better for them. They, that team could be pretty dangerous down there for you guys in the wacky South. But you never know. It could be any one of them 4 teams could win that division.
Yeah. What do you think Seattle does with Kenny Walker?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I see they didn't franchise him, so that's kind of a, will they get the bag out for him? Tough to say, in this, like I said, in this day's NFL, it's tough to pay a running back big money and overpay for him. So, but after what he did in the Super Bowl, it'd be tough to get rid of him as well.
They pretty much
with Charbonnet coming off an injury as well.
Yeah, they pretty much decided when they didn't make a move, they didn't sign him or franchise him, that they were going to let him go.
I know. Do you agree with it though?
Yeah, because I'm not putting big money into a 25-year-old running back.
Tough deal, huh?
Yeah,
the guy really performed, and
I honestly, any running back over the age of 25, I'm not interested in giving them more than a 1-year contract.
So, peeking ahead a little bit to maybe some futures and some win-loss, some totals, win-loss. Is there anything that maybe, is Chicago, they got a little taste of some success? Or are they a team, maybe you're not sold on that maybe a lot of people are, and maybe the vice, the other way, as far as maybe a team that's under the radar that you think may, and we got the draft to go through too as well, but, maybe some buy low or sell high type of teams going into next year.
Yeah, and of course, everybody's going to be looking at the Super Bowl loser, and I've done that throughout the years, taking the Super Bowl loser under. Of course, New England's going to have that tough schedule now instead of the one they had. So that might be the contrarian one to go over on, because we all know, Vrabel is an underdog coach. He'll use that as motivation. I think that team will get better, so you never know. So you got to look at that. I would be a little haste not to go under on New England, even though usually that Super Bowl loser always goes under. That's the one that comes to my mind for the most part is the New England total.
Big Dog, we're out of time, but anything you on right now or this weekend that you want to share with us?
I got a couple college basketball today.
Okay.
If you guys want those, I see. And this is early on the board here, 7:03. We've got UAB Blazers laying 1 here against the Charlotte U team, and it looks like a pretty good spot. Maybe some injury information there, so that line hasn't gone up, but could be getting back a better starter there. So if somebody wants a college basketball pick, that should be a good one.
You and Paul Stone on the same team, the Blazers. There
All
you
right.
go.
Wow. Golly or whatever. Oh, shucks or whatever you said. Yeah.
You the man. Follow Randy on Twitter at RR39. Good luck to you this weekend. We'll be ready for March Madness next weekend. Thank you, Randy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck, everybody out there.
Oh, yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank. We're over here at Modesto today on Burbank. You go down Burbank all the way to Blue Bonnet, Burbank and Blue Bonnet, and that's their newest branch, United Community Bank, serving the people of Southern Louisiana for years and years. Our great team of bankers at United Community Bank, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. Stop on by and see how we can help your business today or serve any type of banking needs. I have an account with them. More than really, really pleased. Very, very, very nice people to deal with. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Modesto, live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Modesto, live at lunch. You watching a little World Baseball Classic yesterday?
The
exhibition with the Giants.
I think it's great. God bless his soul, Roscoe, man. We both really liked it, and I think this thing is bigger and better than ever. I think the hockey team and all the attention that got there has sparked some American pride. You see the roster. Can it be any better? Yeah. I mean, I loved watching the exhibition yesterday. I love listening to Ross from the Cubs in the dugout. These teams are going at the Dominican roster, their lineup. Man, this is some great, the best players in the world competing. Really care.
Bregman homered yesterday for the Americans, and Paul Skeens said, "Put me in ink. I'm playing." You got to talk me into nothing.
Well, Scooble's got a contract here, so he's got limited access. The rest are all in.
Hour number 2.
Enjoying the finer things in life is his forte. Let's bring in Scott Rabelais from The Advocate.
And we return here at Modesto. Tacos, tequila, whiskey, and soft shell crab?
Yes, our Lenten specials, my tacos, crispy crawfish tacos, soft shell crab taco, which I had on Friday night before the gymnastics meet, flounder ceviche, And then our tortas. It's basically a Mexican po' boy and our house-made Tolera bread. You can do the soft-shell crab or fried crawfish torta with the spiced mayo, grilled onions, tomatoes, Oxygen cheese, guacamole, pickled jalapeno, and cabbage slaw. So we do have Lenten specials over here as you go on your way to Alec Box, gymnastics, whatever it is over here near campus.
That's a good place to start with Scott Rabley. Rab, good afternoon. How are you?
Talk about the finer things in life. Soft shell crab tacos. Man, you guys are living large.
Yes,
we're looking forward to that as soon as the show ends today. But I meant gymnastics and Kaylin Chio. We have seen some great gymnasts come through here. This program's produced a lot of them. They've been a national championship program, but she's put up some numbers now that you're the historian where gymnastics is concerned. Scott, where do Chio's number, now that she's the number one gymnast in the country individually, where do her numbers compare with some of the LSU greats?
Well, she's got 50 wins now in 24 meets. So she's averaging like 2 individual wins a meet. That's all around vault, bars, beam, floor. And that's already like 12th in school history. She had 6 perfect 10s this year, 7 for her career. That's moving up the charts. And then she already got an NCAA title that she won last year on vault. And like I said, number 1 all-around vault and beam. And she's tied a mark that hasn't been done in 31 years. Jennifer Wood had 3 straight 10s on vault in 1995, and she tied that mark for the most consecutive 10s in one event. Beam being, of course, the most exacting event. It's the 4-foot-inch wide beam. It's 4 feet off the floor. And she's just been so incredibly consistently good. I mean, we just finished with the Haley Bryant era at LSU. Obviously, she was 5 years, 2-time national champion, won the Hondo Award, was a finalist for the National Hondo Award for gymnastics she won the AAI Award, had a couple of national titles, and led the team to the team championship in 2024. I was like, okay, well, we've seen Haley Bryant come out. This young lady, if she stays healthy, that's always the big key in gymnastics, because pound for pound, they probably have the most injuries of anyone. If she stays healthy, she is on track to be an all-time great. I think she's approaching that territory right now, if she isn't already.
Sophomore, is that when Haley Bryant broke through her sophomore season?
Well, they both won NCAA individual titles as freshmen. Haley won one in 2021, and so did Kaylin. So yeah, I mean, Haley burst on the scene right away. It was her and Kaya Johnson, and they were like the 1-2 punch, and then it was Aaliyah Finnegan with Haley, and then now it's Chio is kind of like, oh, she's coming up. She's doing well, and now she's taken over. And I don't want to say, does LSU, Jay Clark likes to shy away from too much Kaylin Chio praise. I mean, he was talking more team oriented. I understand, but it's hard to ignore. Are they relying on her a lot? Yeah, they are. Yeah, they wouldn't be the team they are if she got hurt, but and had to miss a bunch of events. But as long as she keeps going, I think she's set a standard for consistency and excellence that is really hard to top.
All right, let's shift over to women's basketball, the SEC tournament this week in Greenville. Scott, it's hard for me to put a whole lot into this with LSU's women's basketball team because Kim Mulkey has openly expressed her disdain for this tournament. And so when you couple that with the fact that this is right down the road from South Carolina, who you would have to face probably in the second game, and the home court advantage that they enjoy in Greenville, and the outside possibility of LSU getting a number 1 seed, even if they were to win this tournament, it's hard to put a whole lot of stock in what LSU has on the line this week.
I think there's a lot on the line. I think they can and really need to try to get that number 1 seed in a regional. I mean, UConn's got one locked up. UCLA has one locked up. South Carolina, for winning the SEC regular season, has one locked up. And then you got LSU, Texas, Vanderbilt, maybe Michigan. If Michigan could upset UCLA and win the Big Ten tournament, if you have a trophy on the wall, if you say, look, we won this, then you've got a very good argument. Their net is number 5. It's been right there all season. Well, during the SEC season, they got a really good road win. Over the non-conference schedule is not great, but they do have a really good road win over Duke, who won the ACC. And so I think they need to be a number 1 seed. I think they're going to have a very hard time making it to the Final Four if they're not a number 1 seed. I mean, it's not going to be easy anyway. But I think they need to avoid a UCLA, a South Carolina, a UConn as long as they can. And, you see the latest projections, Charlie Cream has them as a 2 seed in UConn's regional in Fort Worth. That's going to be problematic. UConn is undefeated, and they have a really great team again this year, won the championship last year. So, I know Kim says these public things about, the conference tournaments and stuff like that, but I think for LSU this year it has some added significance. Now, I know they won the championship 3 years ago as a 3 seed, and, they had some help right along the way. Indiana was the number 1 seed in their regional. They didn't get out of Bloomington. Lost to Miami, who LSU beat in the regional final. Iowa knocked off South Carolina in the Final Four. LSU beat no easy task to beat Caitlin Clark and Iowa, but they did it. But they had a little help, and that can happen. But you can't bank on that. I think what you can try to bank on is trying to win these 3 games, and then you present a resume to the committee that I think would be hard for them to argue. Charlie Cream, the ESPN bracketologist, said he thinks they're still in the hunt for a 1 seed, and I think that's what they need to shoot for.
Rab, I love you. We've been friends a long time. They're going to win the first game. They're not going to beat South Carolina in that building. And I will happily say I am wrong, but they're not going to beat South Carolina in Greenville.
Charlie?
No, they're just not.
I think the teams home court means that much. Huh?
I think the teams are fairly equal. South Carolina maybe a slight edge. They were to 40 seconds to go in the Assembly Center, but they're not going to beat them in Greenville. This is akin to playing North Carolina or Duke in the ACC tournament in Greenville or Charlotte or something like that. Greensboro, yeah. I just look, if they do, tip of the cap. But my guess is that they'll win their first game and they'll lose the second one.
I think it could be more competitive than you think. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to pick LSU to win, but I don't. I think they have a chance.
They do have a chance. I'm not saying that they can't win. Scott, how big of a – this was a debate earlier this week. How big of an advantage is that building for South Carolina? I'm not just talking about it against LSU. I'm talking about against anybody. They're really good, period, but in that building.
How often do they play there?
Pretty much what?
They play the SEC women's tournament there every year?
Not every year, but they played it there a bunch.
It's kind of become the anchor site for the SEC women's tournament, like the men's tournament is in Nashville. Okay. So it's very similar. It's an advantage. I went to the tournament. I've only been there. Well, in 2023, the SEC tournament was there, and then LSU didn't play South Carolina. They won a game, then they lost to Tennessee in the season. They didn't lose again. They went back there for the regional as well, and South Carolina was there in the other regional. There's 2 regionals per site, which I hate in the NCAA women's tournament. And for the SEC tournament, for both tournaments, it's an advantage for them. They have a great following. Hey, this is the one program that does really well at South Carolina right now. So
yeah, I mean, but Charlie, I mean, what is a record any better than when they play in the PMAC? Because they're undefeated in the PMAC.
No, they.
Okay, I mean, it's about their team. I mean, it's not just home cooking.
No.
They don't lose anywhere, any building they play.
That's what I'm saying. They're tough anyway. They played every SEC tournament in Greenville since 2017 except one. So it's become a de facto home deal
and
for them.
And they know they can draw a crowd there, and they're more likely to be alive in a tournament more than any other team. So they're putting it where they can get the most people, the best attendance.
And I think the one that they played outside of Greenville, they won it too. So they're really good. They're really good.
Yeah, what's the record in Lexington, that building?
Yeah, they win. They win everywhere. I mean, I'm not saying they only win because it's in Greenville.
They scraped by at Kentucky. They scraped by at Kentucky on Sunday. They were up 2. Kentucky missed a shot. South Carolina inbounds the ball with like 7 seconds left. 2 Kentucky players run into each other, and they get a layup. They win by 4. The teams just kind of throw up on themselves against South Carolina. That's part of it. I agree with Jimmy. It's a tough ask for LSU to get past Oklahoma, which they probably have to play, and then beat with Ayala Chavez, and they have a team that's ranked in the top 10, and then beat South Carolina home court. They will beat South Carolina again one day. I mean, it's inevitable. But this day and this tournament, seems a little tough. Yeah, it's a tough ask.
Let's go to the men. The only question I get wherever I'm about men's basketball is, have they made a decision on Matt McMahon? I'm not worried about what happens on Saturday or in the SEC tournament. Have they made a decision on Matt McMahon, and what is it? And I'm anxious to your answer to that question with a week to go in the season.
I think, like I felt that last week. I think they're still deliberating it. If it wasn't for the whole money aspect, this probably would be done. But gosh, does LSU have? They've surprised us so far with all this football spending, obviously. But I don't know. I just still think that there's some thought that they haven't made up their minds just yet. But if you had to maybe pick an outcome, I would say yes, he's going to get fired. But I don't think it's 100%. I don't think it's 100%.
Imagine the support next year if you run it back. Or lack thereof.
There would be almost none.
You can't justify giving the same budget as he had this year for. So I mean, how's he going to put a good team? And look, the team has not been well coached. Sorry,
no,
they give up way too many easy baskets. They don't play deep. They're not well coached.
They've done nothing well. They haven't recruited well. They haven't scheduled well. They haven't coached well. I don't really blame the last group. I blame is the players. This is about as good as hard as they can play. They're not talented enough to be in a tournament conversation. This isn't a roster, even at its best, that is a tournament roster. And I say that with Thomas having missed as much time as he has, I don't think they're a tournament team with him.
Well, go through his numbers.
Yeah, we did, and we've done.
Go through his numbers. Yeah, he wasn't good when he was healthy.
So, Scott,
y'all really don't think if Thomas had played the whole season healthy, they would be at least in the conversation?
What was he played 5 conference games? He was not good. He shot about 28-30% from the floor. His assist-to-turnover ratio was not good. He was not good. No.
In the 5 games, again, there were 3 conference games. SMU and Texas Tech is what I counted.
Matt Humans is on with us every Thursday, and he covered UNLV for years for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Okay, so he still follows him. He said we asked him about Tom. He says that he's okay. He's okay. He's just an okay player. He wasn't worth the money. He had to overpay because he got some attention from some other players. But no, he's not a difference maker.
In those 5 games.
But Scott, you lose games by 15, 20 every night.
Those 5 games, 3 SEC games, SMU and Texas Tech. Okay, they were 1-4. He shot 25 for 70 from the floor. That's 36%. And he shot 4-14 from three-point range. That's 29%. I don't have the assist-to-turnover ratio, but
he had a good night against SMU.
He did have, and so did McKinnon. That's the best game they played all year.
Yeah, just throw it to McKinnon. He's knocking him down.
But no, Scott, I don't.
He's not a difference maker.
Now, that being said, I think that Matt McMahon's going to get another year, and it's fine. And I'm basing that based on what I've heard Verge Osbury say. He's done multiple interviews, and he's kind of telling you that
he's trying to soften the blow.
Yes, he is softening up the ground to say,
he's
hey,
trying.
Listen, we don't have enough money, and whether they do or not, but that's what he's thinking. He's the AD. They don't have enough money to fire him and bring in another coach that would make a difference. Could they fire him? Yeah, but then they'd have to go hire another coach, and they don't have enough money to go get the guy that they want, an attractive name, plus give that guy all the NIL money he wants. Now, do people think that he can do that and he just doesn't? Who can say? But that's what I think he's doing. I mean, when you get the CEO of one of your biggest sponsors to put out a tweet, okay, and believe me, it was an awfully strange time to opine for the first time. I mean, it looked even if it's not planted, it looks planted. Okay?
Oh no, it's really bad. This is not exactly an NBA type of time, but this is the college version of tanking. If you come back with this next year, if you run this back next year, you have so little interest, apathy. No, it's way beyond apathy. I mean, you run this back. This is a college version of tanking.
And listen to what Verge just said. This is the equivalent of the doctor about to give you a tetanus shot. Look, this is going to hurt. Okay, or setting a leg. This is going to hurt, and you go, okay, it's going to hurt, and you brace yourself. I think that's what they're doing. I would be delighted to be wrong because I would like to see the program take a step in the right direction, but that's kind of my read on it so far.
My money's on them making a change. So,
and I think that they're not. I hope, I don't say this often, I hope Jimmy's right.
If I go back to our interview, Verge did a series of interviews back in January with a bunch of us in the media. Wilson Alexander and I sat down, and of course, I wrote a column based on what he said. And compared to what he said about football, football has to succeed. Football has to be very successful. We have to fill up Tiger Stadium. All these things. It wasn't with that emphasis that he said about men's basketball. I mean, and there's not a lot of schools where you necessarily would say that. Kentucky you would, and Duke you would, and that sort of thing. But it was like, we got to evaluate. We got to look at it. It's a very good chance he'll be back next year. But it comes down to money. One more year. I don't know. I don't know where to go with this. But I do know the interest right now, or the support, is behind football, baseball, women's basketball, gymnastics, possibly softball. So it's pretty bad.
There's no basketball justification to bring him back. None. It's all economics if they do that. Scott, we appreciate it. We will talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, guys. Take care.
We're here at Modesto.
Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet. Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. Go West in Plaquemine as well. And Go Ford down in Waveland, Mississippi. We continue to build our Go Automotive dealership family. And, I don't just talk about the great vehicles that Go. I drive a Chevy Tahoe that I got from Lee Carney down at Go Chevrolet. I talked about their concierge service department. You talk about convenient. Unbelievably convenient. We were doing a show over at Chris's Specialty Foods. They brought the loaner up to me, picked it up, brought it into the to get service. They communicated with me. This is what's going on with it. This is what. Do we have your approval to do the work? Yep. Go ahead and do it. Knocked it. Sent over the bill. Paid it over the phone. That easy. And they returned my vehicle when I was at home later in the day. You talk about convenient. Unbelievable. Their concierge service department at Go Chevrolet. Again, Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine. Go Chevy in Go Chevy West in Plaquemine as well. And Go Ford in Waveland. Lee Carney, Nick Richard, my buddies over at the Go Automobile dealership family. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing.
Live at Modesto. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. From east, north to south, but we're heading west. It's Wes Reynolds from VSiN.
Wes, how you doing, buddy? What's your thoughts on that Shane Lowry finish on the Bear last week?
Well, I wasn't on him, so I didn't have to deal with that pain necessarily. But yeah, but he's been snake bit at this tournament. Remember a few years ago when he was trying to win the tournament, and then it started to rain on 18, and it poured down rain right when he needed a birdie to Matt Straka to get into a playoff. And I think he's not finished worse than 11th in any of the last 5 years, and he's been in the top 10 in 4 of those 5. And just got snake bit. Just pulled a couple drives right, and it just compounded upon him. And Nico Echeverria made the birdie he had to make, and Johnny on the spot, and won the tournament. But I'll credit Shane Lowry for standing there and answering the questions afterwards and, not running and hiding and, saying, hey, I gagged it away. And unfortunately for him, and he's a good guy, so I felt bad for him, he did. He hit a couple bad shots at the worst possible time when he had it under control. Because Echeverria, I believe, when he was on the 16th hole, and that's the middle of the Bear Trap, of course, the PGA National, Echeverria was like 35-1 in play to win that tournament on Sunday. And, if you got on him and you were right on the money there, then you got a good cash out of that.
50-1 is what Lowry was, the highest mark, minus 5,000 is what what he was at one point. And why not just take? I mean, did you see the spray chart of the balls hit on 16 for the entire weekend? I mean, it's so unusual for a guy that seems to be kind of so grounded. I mean, take your 3-wood out or whatever, and just hit it 275 in the middle of. I don't know, man. I would go more control with my club choice at that point.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that necessarily, but it is kind of, hey, I'm rolling along. What I'm doing is working. I don't want to all of a sudden change, it that dramatically. When he was bogey free, by the way, throughout the entire weekend, as was Nico Echeverria. So he's like, you know what? I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden he pulls one right, and the tournament is gone.
Wow, bogey free for the whole tournament, double. I mean, it's if he wasn't such a likable guy, would the choke tag be more prevalent here?
Probably, because I think he is likable, because we've seen him at the Ryder Cup, and how much joy I think he takes out of playing the game, and how much fun he has, and he's the Irishman that you want to have a beer with at the pub, and I think he has that charm about him. So yeah, if he was somebody else, if he was a more of, I guess, a villain in the game, if you will, he'd probably be taking a lot more grief at this point.
When he goes to the press conference or whatever after, and he says, "My biggest disappointment is my 4-year-old little girl wants to come run up." Because
he lives there now, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think is that right, Wes? He lives there now.
Yeah, he lives in the area. A lot of those guys, of course, live in the Jupiter area, and that's why they were playing the TGL, that Seminole Pro-Am this week. So yeah, a lot of those guys are in that area.
And he says, I was so disappointed because I wanted my little 4-year-old girl to come, my daughter to come and hug me on the 18th green. Okay, all right, you got me.
Even after the Zurich locally, people remember when he and Rory won, and they're doing karaoke to Journey. At the 10th, the 18th green or 17th green tent, things like that. And we see him sort of relax and just kind of laughing it up. Just seems. Not one that's, throwing tantrums, dusting off in his vehicle because he's upset he blew the tournament. So interesting. Arnold Palmer now this week wins Scotty Scheffler, basically plus 340, 350, obvious here. So first approach, are we going without Scheffler or with Scheffler? You usually go with Scheffler and you should try and beat him. What you thinking, Wes?
Yeah, and it's tough to try to beat him this week considering he's won 2 of the last 4 here in Orlando, so he's got 2 red cardigans. But another guy that's going for a second red cardigan, and you mentioned that classic, of course, Shane Lowry's partner was Rory McIlroy, who I did play at 10-1 this week. I look at what he's doing right now, and I had him at Riviera where he didn't put any pressure on Bridgman. He couldn't make a putt like all weekend until that bomb he makes at 18. Where it's like too little, too late. But other than that, he struck the ball beautifully. I liked what he did off the tee. He was playing, his usual draw, but he's also hitting those low stingers. Like he was kind of diversifying his arsenal off the tee. But what's really been his highlight is he's been number 1 in approach this year. He's hitting his irons the best he's done in about 3 years. He's already actually had a winning week because he won his TGL. His team won the TGL on Sunday. And then he won the Seminole Pro member title with his dad on Monday. So maybe he closes out the trifecta this week. And Rory's also, of course, won here before, has always played well. I think, now with his stature of the game, being a career Grand Slam winner, he is very cognizant of the history of the game. So some events that aren't majors mean a little bit more, and I think the Arnold Palmer is one of them. So Rory, I played at 10-1. And then couple guys about the similar price range in the mid-20s. One being Colin Morikawa, who actually probably should have won this thing last year before Russell Henley tipped in for Eagle at 16 and just grabbed the tournament from him. But now Morikawa getting that win at Pebble Beach because he had that winless drought of a couple of years. But getting that win at Pebble Beach, announced that he and his wife were expecting, so he seems like he's in a better place mentally because after he kind of had that tournament ripped from him last year, he's getting a little chippy with the media and all that. You could tell that this was starting to wear on him a little bit. Now, the putter's got to be a little bit better. He's like 131st this season. and he wasn't great putting here last year, but he did lead the field driving accuracy last year. I like the fact that he followed up that Pebble Beach win with a T7 at the Genesis. So the irons, obviously in good shape. He's still one of the best in the world in that category. As is Matt Fitzpatrick at around 25 or 28-ish to 1. Number 1 in ball striking this year in that category. Number 4 in approach. Number 5 in total driving. But putting, which usually is Fitzpatrick's strength, he's 141st right now in putting. And he's ranked inside the top 30, I think, like 6 of the last 7 years on the PGA Tour. So I think a lot of that was the fact that he was on the West Coast and he's on that bumpy POA surface where he's maybe not used to it. Now he's back on the Bermuda in Florida. I would expect those numbers are going to improve dramatically. And then a couple longer shots this week, a guy that's drifted up because his game's kind of been all over the place. Victor Hovland in the mid-40s, and I actually see him at 50 in a couple spots. Remember, he should have won this event like 3 years ago, and then Scheffler got him in the end. And then the following year, he was that 54-hole leader and then stumbled on Sunday, ended up just getting a top 10 finish out of it. And I think just going back to this course, this might be what kind of turns him around a little bit. If you remember last year when he drifted to a really high number at the Valspar, it's like, oh, my God, his game's in shambles. Like, he's not doing anything. And then all of a sudden he wins. I think this maybe could be one of those spots for him to turn it around. And then one guy I did have last week that ended up with a pretty solid finish due to a real hot Sunday start. He made 7 birdies in the first 11 holes. Nikolai Højgaard at 60 to 1. Currently right now at number 50 in the official world golf rankings, and he's got to be in that top 50 to get that master spot. By the way, his brother Rasmus is the favorite down in Puerto Rico in the alternate event. So Nikolai, I like the way he strikes the ball. Like, he popped on every model stat: approach, total driving, proximity from 200 yards or more, because you're going to have a lot of those long iron shots here, and he just popped. So that was more kind of like a stat model type play with Nikolai at 60 to 1.
All right, great card in college basketball last night. Good one tonight, and then the big boys last weekend of the regular season. You got the rematch in Durham against North Carolina. That line is projected to be around 15.5. Arizona State has had a rough year, but they're hot as of late. Finally, the Toppin loss caught up with Texas Tech. They lose at home after 3 games of winning straight up and against the spread without Toppin. Just some thoughts coming down the stretch. Maybe a bad team playing above form, a really good team struggling, or any picks that you have for tonight.
Yeah, now we're getting all these bracketologies out as who's the last team in, who's the first team out. One of them are my alma mater, who I don't even think should be in the tournament. I think that that Michigan State effort on Sunday was not good. And I don't think, as much as Bruce Pearl is chirping right now, I don't think his kids' team belongs in the tournament. They're going after Miami of Ohio, who's about to go 30-0 in the regular season. It's like, why does Auburn deserve to be in the NCAA tournament with 14 losses? So you're going to get all these taxes, I think, in the numbers with these teams that kind of need to win a little bit. But in terms of tonight's card, a couple I did play. One, I'll mention a bubble team, Indiana. I played the under tonight, Indiana, Minnesota, and that's down at about 137 or so right now. These two teams had a kind of a rock fight in the first meeting back in December where Minnesota got them in the barn. Their record's not great, but they've been pretty good at home. And I just think here, Minnesota's only playing about 6 guys right now, and Indiana's essentially playing 7. So I think, Indiana needing this win so badly, you may see them, okay, we got to value every single possession we can because we need this win like blood, and then you need to go do it at Ohio State over the weekend. So I like the under in that game. Played DePaul +3 at home against Villanova. DePaul very quietly has won 4 of their last 5. Swept Creighton in the process, and they're getting 3 and some 2.5 out there against Villanova. The Big East has been real separation, where I think you have one pretty, I don't want to say great, but close to great team in UConn, a very good team in St. John's, a solid team in Villanova, and then it drops off, I think, to the rest of the conference. But DePaul's got some confidence right now, so get that small number at home. I like the Demons over Villanova tonight.
Yeah, that line opened up around 4.5. It's down to 2.5 right now. I like DePaul as well. DePaul's got a better, we know about St. John's and UConn in the Big East, and then the clear 3 is Villanova, but I think Villanova might be closer to the rest of the pack than they are in the Big Two, and it's just the story of the Big East. Without that, without football revenue, Creighton, Butler, Xavier, Providence, Marquette, all these teams have been really good. Basketball programs, they're just not. They're not good this year at all. Wes, anything else before we let you go, buddy?
Yeah, a couple others that I'm also looking at.
Okay.
Penn State, we see them every year. They knock somebody off, no matter how good or poor they are, and they did it with Iowa on Saturday. And they're getting 7 at home against Ohio State, who seemingly thinks that, that win over Purdue maybe put them on the right side of the bubble. They're still not safe, and they're laying 7 on the road. I'm not so sure about this, kind of that sandwich spot in between the Purdue game and then the Indiana game to close out on Senior Day in Columbus. So Penn State, I think, might be worth a look as an underdog tonight.
I like them as well. Think a little bit of and Purdue. We'll ask Matt tomorrow too, but I know that he's not terribly surprised by this Purdue slide.
I am a little bit because I know their culture, and Matt Painter, I think, has one of the best cultures in college basketball. But I think it's just the nature of the sport that's changed. Like, you get a guy like Braden Smith, who was Indiana Mr. Basketball a few years ago, but he was a 5'11", small guard that was getting mostly mid-major offers. And then Purdue was his first major offer, so he's like, they believed in me. I go there. He has one of great careers, one of the great modern-day Boilermaker careers. And then all of a sudden he starts getting these NIL offers, right, from Kentucky, reportedly Michigan, some other big schools who are kicking the tires. And then Purdue has to come up with the dough to keep him, obviously, in West Lafayette. And then he goes and buys the Cybertruck, and then he gets the ink and has a podcast. And it reminds me of what Kurt Signetti says about Indiana football. You got to keep the main thing the main thing. And I wonder if Braden Smith has done that, and then combine that with the fact that they don't have a dominant presence defensively at the rim, and the Boilers just aren't as good defensively as they've been in the last several years. So that surprised me because I thought they were a Final Four team to start the season.
Yeah, they were preseason number one. Braden Smith, real close to Hurley's record. It's going to probably come down to how many games they play in a Big Ten tournament, and then the following week in the or two in the NCAA tournament. Follow Wes on Twitter at Wes Reynolds 1. Wes, great stuff, buddy. We appreciate it. Good luck to you tonight. We'll talk to you next week.
You bet, guys. Thanks for having me.
And we're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store. The Pierre Part Store are open in La Place and La Rose. Right now, if you're getting your garden in, you doing a little gardening today.
I've done it this week. We did, some pruning, some spring cleaning, Charlie.
Best Garden right now. Up to 65% off on all lawn and garden tools on the website, thethibodeaustore.com. All of your rakes, your little small shovels, your gardening equipment is there. Your potting and your topsoils, your spreaders, your seeders, your grass and weed control, all of them on special right now on the website. Lots of storage containers and cleaning supplies if you're getting your outdoor area, getting ready for the warmer weather. Patio furniture also available right now at the website, along with outdoor cooking equipment and outdoor power equipment. TheThibodeauStore.com. You can get to all 4 of the sites right there from TheThibodeauStore.com. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, Highway 70 in Pierre Part, open daily until 5:30. So
one of the gadgets I got down from there was a fertilizer spreader.
Yeah.
You put it, you dump it in there and you roll it. You hold the little thing and it spreads instead of you trying to do it evenly. I'm wondering what the neighbors were thinking when I was in the rain. Got to do it when the rain. So
Soften
I
the
woke
ground
up
up.
about 7:15 this morning. Oh, it's raining. I better get out there. What do you think of me? I'm in the rain doing fertilizer spreader, huh?
I think
Yard of the month,
EJ's at school.
No way. He's getting up at 7:15. He's doing very well in school. Exceptional, actually, in school.
Well, that's good.
Early morning assignments, not his specialty.
Check it out at thethibodeaustore.com. Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our Wednesday consensus golf picks are brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown.
Got the heavy sticks out this week, huh?
Yes, indeed. Not going too far. Well, not going. Trying to beat Scheffler is the big deal. So Scheffler, That's 360, something like that.
You need him beat? It's no problem. I'll bet on him, and I'll knock him right out of there.
How many times you bet him this year?
Twice.
And he was, and that's when he has dug himself the hole and then trying to storm back late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just makes it such a poor rooting experience when you feel like you're out of it on Thursday, and it gives you a glimmer of hope.
Oh, no.
He comes back, and it's like, man, just back up your schedule a day here. You'll be fine.
The golf in game, it is just constant. I mean, it is fluid over a 4-day span. And if you did take him, if you bought low, when he gets down to like 30-1, 40-1, 50-1, when he does make his charge, then it creates some leverage where you can maybe cash in on some of the other contenders at that time. So, yeah, we'll see. Rory McIlroy, both Wes and Max have Rory McIlroy at is he 10-1, 20-1? What did we say here? Let me see.
Oh, he gave us at.
I think it's 10-1. Yeah, 10-1. 10-1 is where McIlroy is. Let me see. At the Friends at Bally's in the Queen DraftKings outlet, it's plus 980, so right at 10-1. And then you go down a little bit to Colin Morikawa, 27-1. 27-1 at Bally. Yes, well, he's he had his run. He won that. He's been Ryder Cup. He won the major in the Bay Area where he spent his college days at Cal. He grew up in Los Angeles, so he's a California guy. He has another California win, but then he got a little testy with the media and
his caddies.
Yes, and so he was just kind of like, now it sounds like he's more a little relaxed with his private life, and that has maybe relaxed his golf game a little bit, and maybe just maturing as well. Pretty young guy when he came up on the scene, as most of these guys are with the credentials that he has.
Yeah, he did the kind
of British Open was the other one, was out of nowhere where he had his first practice round and he was just horrendous and very rare to win, to go win in the link style of courses without having any real experience.
He had played the Scottish the week before and got
was
awful.
atrocious.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's our two consensus picks brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Rory McIlroy at 10-1 and Colin Morikawa at 27-1, plus 980 at the Queen and Bally's. Don't forget, next Thursday for conference tournament week, championship week, we will be at the DraftKings outlet at Bally's. The Wednesday will be right down the street over at Walk-Ons. And then the first 2 days of March Madness, we are hunkering down Thursday and Friday live from Bally's Bally's Casino at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So that'll be our headquarters for the first weekend, and we'll be hunkering down all weekend over there. So looking forward to that. We were over there on Saturday. And, they had the Chinese New Year or whatever going on. Man, it was fun.
The parade.
Yeah, had the parade coming through, man. It was lively, man. Got to rub elbows with the Vice President, General Manager Richard, and just doing a really good job over there. You haven't been there. It's a nice facility. Go by and check it out. And, of course, our friends over at the Queen as well, man. Nobody runs the TVs like our friends over at the Queens, and Tommy and Scotty and all that gang over there. Andres, of course, over at the Queen. So both DraftKings outlets, so plenty of kiosks, service, tellers at the make it your home for championship week next weekend and March Madness for the rest of the tournament. Brought to you by our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. You get in a wreck, it's never fun, never convenient. No, it's a flat-out pain in the backside. I mean, it is rough. So it is major inconvenience, major stress, and that's where Dana and his team of specialized attorneys come in. Contact them. They'll schedule, get you, expedite your appointment scheduling for the doctors, whatever you're hurting on, and come deal with the insurance agents, the insurance companies. We're used to dealing with them. It's a lot of the same people. When They deal with the different reps for the different insurance companies. So we have a relationship with these people at the law offices of O.C. Brown as well. So never a fun time, never a convenient time. It is really a major inconvenience, major pain, but try to absorb the blow and ease the pain as much as possible. Call 343-1111. Downtown Dana Brown Law Offices of O.C. Brown.
Live at Modesto, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Modesto on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Give you a little weather news here as our weather guy Max has the day off. If you're going to see the LSU women's team off, they had that send-off plan for the PMAC at 1:30. They're going to do that inside now. So if you're going over to see the ladies off for Greenville, head inside at the PMAC.
Did you see a social media video for Flaugier for senior night? They threw a party back at whoever's place. I don't know if it's hers or whatever. And they had it catered. Guess what they had it catered? And boiled crawfish and boiled blue crabs.
Beautiful.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna come on. Let's eat now." she is so funny, man. She is so funny.
No, she's such
so they showed a picture. I was going,
character.
"Oh, that was when look how fat I was." I mean, she's a character, man.
That video from
very
her freshman
likable.
year when she was talking about all of her goals and how many of them she's already hit and on her way to hitting a lot more of them. So.
But I mean, me and Flaugier, we got the same party menu down.
Yeah.
It was a boiled seafood.
Yes,
indeed.
Very good. Down in Lafayette tonight, the weather forecast improves considerably starting at 4 o'clock today. So it looks like the Tigers and Cajuns are in good shape to get that game in. It starts at Tigmore at 6 o'clock tonight. Tigers and the Raging Cajuns. We don't have pictures yet. Probably won't tell us that until about 90 minutes before the game. But the weather looks like it's in pretty good shape. Whether the rain has stopped here by the LSU campus, but the weather's kind of crappy, to be honest with you. So they're moving the ladies' send-off inside. Baseball looks like they're in pretty good shape tonight. Jimmy, not as big a card tonight in college basketball, but
you still got some interesting games. Penn State, I agree with Wes. Both teams coming off of nice wins. Penn State beat Iowa, and really wasn't a surprise. They were winning by most of the game. And then Ohio State drilled Purdue. Ohio State's kind of on the bubble. I think they're in right now, but that might be a lot of points there. Northwestern has won 3 in a row, Charlie. They take on struggling Purdue. Catching 11.5 is a lot of points there. I'm on DePaul as well with it. I don't like the line movement. I was looking at 4.5 instead of 2.5, but they're in fourth place in the Big East. So right there.
Arkansas off the big
I like
loss.
Arkansas.
I like Arkansas tonight against Texas. Tomorrow we're at Dick's House of Sports. Have a great day, everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.